Welcome on into WFRV Plus Sports Night. We're just 2 days out from the postseason. Finally getting underway with Breanna Reinhardt. I'm Cameron Ezer. I haven't done this two-cam full thing in a while. There we go. Look, the two of us. I was going to press cam one full. You just see my face. And that's not the point. The point is I'm not riding solo today. So, Breanna, thank you for joining me.
Happy to be here.
So, obviously, the big story is the game on Saturday. The Packers heading down to Chicago. It'll be the second time they've done so in 3 weeks. And we all know what happened last time. We were just in that locker room talking to a lot of defensive guys about stopping the run game and what that'll look like.
Yep.
From an outside perspective, and I know that you are still within the inner workings of the team as we are, but when you first saw Packers-Bears wild card matchup, what was the first thing that came to your mind?
I got a little excited. I think two teams meeting twice is always exciting. And then to see them come back the third time, I think Packers are going to be looking for that redemption story this game. I think last game left a little bit of a bitter taste in their mouth where it felt like that whole game they had the momentum, seemed like they were going to come away with it and win. And then just that unexpected onside kick kind of went south for them. But as we know, Packers have been battling just a ton of injuries and illnesses. So it's all very up in the air, but I'm excited to see how the Packers play and kind of watch them go after that redemption story.
What's also been odd is the trends of this season, right? You start off with 2 wins, then you don't win for 2 weeks, then you got the bye week, but then you win 3 in a row. It feels like the momentum is back on your side. Then you lose 2 in a row, then you win 4 in a row, and now you've lost 4 in a row. And it feels like not that it's a good team or a good thing that this team has lost 4 in a row, but the fact that they've dealt with the adversity before.
Yes.
And there's something to be said, like you mentioned, of the revenge factor, where if they win that game against the Bears, they sweep them. And we're talking about a different storyline. Yes, these two teams might not play each other if the Packers end up winning that game, but now you enter with, okay, the Packers have that salty taste in their mouth, just as the Bears did in that game from 2 weeks prior when the Bears won at Lambeau. It feels like everything has come together at the right time, right?
For sure, yeah. And I mean, ultimately, I think that this is a pretty even matchup at this point in the season. I feel like, Packers have faced a lot of adversity, but they're kind of coming around that hump right now of, they're getting back on their feet, they're getting healthy. And then Bears too, they haven't won since they played the Packers last, so they might be feeling a little sluggish, but I think that this is going to be that ultimate playoff matchup between them both coming together.
I tweeted something out right after the Bears lost to the Lions in Week 18 and said this is the perfect scenario for the Packers, is the fact that the Bears still locked in the 2 seed, so it's still Packers-Bears part 3, but it's even better because although the Packers have lost 4 straight, you're right. The Bears had lost their last 2 in a row.
Yep.
So no team enters with momentum or a good feeling. It really is, the slate is wiped clean, 0-0. You're entering the playoffs. Anything can happen. And you mentioned the injury concerns for the Packers that are kind of turning a corner. Injury report just came out. 6 players listed as questionable. One of them being Zach Tom, who did not practice today. Now the Packers moved their practice from their practice facility to Lambeau Field, which I don't think a lot of us expected because that hasn't happened before, but I think it was a footing concern and the fact that that field has been beat up by the snow and not really taken care of. And I know we were talking as we were leaving Lambeau about how nice it is outside, but weeks ago it was in the negatives. And I mean, we walk out on the practice field, we're slipping and sliding. So they practice at Lambeau. So Zach Tom got a rest day. So he'll most likely play on Saturday, but Warren Brinson also questionable. Nick Neiman, who is a special teams guy that can really fill in for a guy like Bo Melton, who's now out for the season. But this is the first time that I've looked at a Packers injury report and no one is listed as out.
Yes, which is a great sign for them. That has been rare, I feel like, most this season.
Yeah.
They seem like they're riding a high and then suddenly one key player gets put out.
It's crazy.
All the momentum goes south. But yeah, I think though that like another interesting storyline for this game is just that, last game against the Vikings, they had a lot of their starters sitting out, which I think that's a positive for the Packers in the sense of they got that extra rest. Their bye week came so early in the season this year that it's like a lot of these players were feeling banged up, and it was definitely showing on the injury report with players going down. It seemed like every single game, that whole list would keep growing. So I think that, it's finally coming around for them, and this rest week for them against the Vikings, not playing a lot of starters definitely could be a positive going into this Bears game.
And conversely, it's a short week for both teams, but the Bears played a hard-fought 60 minutes of football and even lost because of that. So it feels like the Packers came out better for the decision that they made, which was to rest their guys, because in terms of jockeying for position, they had nothing to play for. But the Bears at the end of the day also had nothing to play for because the Eagles ended up losing, but they didn't know at the time. So again, it seems like everything is trending up for the Packers. Jordan Love looked good at practice yesterday. He said he's ready to go. We asked him about the rust, right? Because that's another thing. Is it a rest week or is it a rust week? They haven't played in a while.
It's very true.
And he told us that he's been practicing to the fullest of his capacity. He feels like he's gotten the reps that he's needed. How important do you think that, obviously we understand the starting quarterback is important, but to get a Jordan Love who's well rested, who has been practicing for 3 weeks even without playing, do you think it's more of a detriment, or are you confident in a guy who says, and again, it might just be jargon, but who tells us that the practice reps have been good enough?
Yeah. I think rest is great. You know, these are professionals. This is what they're paid to do. This is what they do for a living. So I think just to rest their body and their mind for what Jordan Love now 2 weeks, I think that's going to play in his advantage. But, you know, there is always that uncertainty of, you know, he hasn't been out there. He hasn't been in the fast pace of it. But I think people forget, though, that even though he's not playing, he's still on that sideline. He's still, you know, in that momentum of the game. And I'm sure he's helping out, you know, with the backup quarterbacks and things, telling them what, you know, advice of what to do and things like that. So even though he's not playing, I think he was still mentally there in all the games. So I do think that he'll be prepped and ready to go come face off against the Bears.
Yeah, and Jordan Love, very even keeled. We asked Josh Jacobs, do you feel like because he got knocked out with that concussion, he's back to the scene of the crime, right? Going back to Soldier Field where he suffered it. We asked Josh, do you feel like he'll come back with a little more intensity, knowing that on that same field was, you know, he couldn't finish out the season because of that? And Josh just laughed and said, Jordan will always be the same. Like he's not going to, you know, blow up or be very animated. Like we know Jordan Love is always just going to be very even keeled, very calm. But Josh did say, and I kind of wanted your thoughts on this. Josh said that a lot of the guys on the team took that hit personally, the one to the head of Jordan Love that then knocked him out. When you hear that, I mean, it is still Packers Bears. Like we understand 100%. The fuel is there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's you telling me that was the first time I heard that, because I wasn't able to hear Josh Jacobs talk last in the locker room. But I think that the Bears should be scared hearing that. I mean, these are football players and they're ultimately out for blood. So, I mean, obviously when your QB1 goes down, I think anyone's going to take that personally, because it's just, you never mess with the quarterback, you know? I mean, ultimately you want to, but I think that has a lot to say, and I think that's going to light a fire underneath the entire team. Not only the way that their last game ended, but, you know, also having Jordan Love go down in that. I think these players are going to be extra motivated going in to get that redemption.
And not just that, extra confident. Like, I feel like we have asked these players ad nauseum, how in the world are you guys still confident? You haven't won in a month and you're still confident, and they will just tell us I think it's gotten to the point where they don't want to hear the question anymore, because, I mean, honestly, if they're not confident, what are they going to be? And I think that is the normal response out of them. But yeah, this Packers team hoping to turn things around, end the 4-game losing streak, advance in the playoffs for the first time in 2 years. I also think the loss last year in the wild card round it'll definitely help them at this point of the year, because they have the experience of where they weren't able to go a year ago after tasting what a wild card win was a few years back. We're going to talk to a few of the defensive guys here on WFRV Plus Sports Night when we come back, but we'll take a short break. And again, when we're back, we'll talk to Edgerrin Cooper, Jonathan Ford. Really interesting there that he was on the Bears 2 weeks ago, and now he's on the Packers. So he gives his thoughts on playing his former team, as well as Kingsley Enagbare, a guy who didn't play against the Vikings, rested, but he will definitely be a premier part of that pass rush. So that's next on the show. And we're back here on WFRV Plus Sports Night, previewing the granddaddy of them all in terms of this weekend. Prime Video got the game, and I think we're all confused, because why in the world would we have to buy a subscription? Luckily, being in Green Bay, it will air locally, but still, like, come on, that has to be.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
They know. I think they understand that people will want to buy subscriptions, and of course, at the end of the day, it's all about money and making money. This Packers team in the last 2 games against the Bears, I think it back to the beginning of the season, how good they were at stopping the run, largely because of Devontae Wyatt and Micah Parsons. Now they have neither of them. And against the Bears, they've given up over 130 rush yards in both games. It will be pivotal to stop DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. Breanna, why do you think that is such an important part of this matchup?
I think it's going to be just huge for them. I feel like the defense has been struggling a little bit, especially since Micah went down. Against the Ravens, it looked like they were starting out great. The defense was doing good, but then it just all went downhill. So I think it's important for our defensive players now to kind of step up and prove, they say every day in locker room, just because Micah's out doesn't mean that these other players aren't great. So I think that this game specifically is going to be important for them to step up and show that, they have more depth than just what Micah is. And I think even for like fan bases, I think our fans need to see that, because it almost seems like, in the outside world, it seems like the Packers season ended when Micah went down.
So
and
true.
Then right after, Jordan Love goes out. And it almost just felt like, I don't know necessarily, players never admit to it, but, kind of hopes start dwindling away. And it seems like on a fan base, all the fans were like, oh man, the season is over. So I think it's going to be really important for the defense on Packers end to step up this game to, prove to themselves and the fan base that, just because we lost Micah Parsons doesn't mean that, we're not still Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, I agree with you. It is very much a prove it game for them, especially because when we talk deep playoff runs, and if that's even possible, you can put so much onus on the offense, but the offense has looked as they've looked for the last couple of years.
Pretty
in terms of you got Jordan Love, and then you have Josh Jacobs and Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks, and that O-line, a majority of them come from that 2022 class. So everything has stayed pretty similar. But then on the defensive side of the ball, a lot of new pieces, a lot of young guys. Defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley in his second year. My favorite part of Jeff Hafley's presser yesterday is he was talking about just how thankful he was to be in Green Bay, because there's been a lot of speculation. The Titans just requested him for a head coaching interview. A lot of speculation. Are you going to go in the offseason? And he looked directly at the media and said, I'm so thankful to be here, and I'm so confident in our team that I will be talking to you guys next week.
That's
and
awesome.
He walked out. He understands how much pressure is on the defense and how much responsibility they're taking on. And so do the guys in that locker room. And we chatted with a few of them. This is Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker, who was one of the 7 inactives who did not play. Now, a lot of other guys didn't play in Minnesota, but one of the 7 inactives who knows how important it is to not just stop the run, but stop Caleb Williams. And like you said, Breanna, prove it to not just the team, but the fan base. This Packers team can keep chugging along.
Yeah, that's you gotta look at that as every game, but definitely this game, two great teams playing each other. It's gonna come out to make the least mistakes at the end.
What's it take to get Caleb on the ground? It seems tough.
Oh yeah, he's a tough player. You just gotta trust your technique and trust what you see.
What's your defense doing best at this stage of the season with who you have? If you were going to say this is what we can put out there Saturday night, what is it?
How I'm looking at it, we need to get back to playing. Because last game, I felt like our standard wasn't there, and the goal this week, to get back, looking at the film like, every hat to the ball, everybody running to the ball. It just right now we're just trying to get back on that type of playing.
Last night Jeff was talking to us. He's pretty much guaranteed that we'll be talking to him again next week, saying you're going to win. Do you like it when your coach has that sort of mindset?
Hey, you can't beat confidence, and that's what we're going to carry on our chest, and that's what we're going to go do.
How important is it to stop the run?
Very important. We know teams going to try to run on us, but we're not letting that happen. I'm saying right now, we're not letting it happen.
You guys have focused on it and done really, like against the Lions both times. You geared up. We talked all week about the run, and you shut it down.
Yeah.
The Bears had a good second half at Lambeau in that department, but the first half was really good. It seems like when you focus on it, you get it done. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, that's what it's all about. We know when we're lying right, and we're not beating ourselves. We feel like nobody could hang with us, and that's what we gotta do, and we just gotta go do what we do.
A road game in the playoffs. Do you guys feel off the energy at Soldier Field, or is it a little bit more of a challenge without Lambeau backing you?
We love it. We love the challenge. Love the crowd, love the noise, and just want to go out there and handle business.
Having played Caleb now a couple of times, That's got to help you in terms of having a better feel for his mobility, right? What he likes to do during a play. Do you think that'll help you tomorrow night?
Yeah, by far we already knew what he could do, and he does it to other teams. And he's a great player. He's very mobile, but just got to do our best containing him and getting him down.
Has Micah been around in the building? I know he started rehab. Has he been interacting with you guys? Has he been trying to feed you some energy?
I mean, busy week like this, we haven't been seeing him too much. But I know he's been in the training room, trying to get a head start for next season.
How does your experience in the playoffs last year kind of show up this year, do you think?
I mean, it's the same thing. It's football. It's the same thing as any other game, but it's just going to be a bigger game, means a lot more. And, we just got to go out there, correct the little details, and just play physical.
And that was a similar sentiment that Javon Bullard shared with us yesterday, saying, I'd be lying to you if I said that this wasn't a bigger game, because obviously this team understands the stakes. They've been here before. Now I follow that up with, is playoff experience from, again, you can ask the players, they would say, no, it's just another game. But I think playoff experience matters. I think that it definitely plays a part because more intensity, and again, you understand what the stakes are. Do you feel like playoff experience matters?
I think so. I think that some people, I mean, obviously every single NFL game, there's a lot of pressure and you're playing in front of the biggest stage in the world ultimately. But I do think that some players either thrive under these pressure situations or they tend to crack. And we know with those new players or rookies and people like that, you never know how they're fully going to react to a situation like this. And I feel like, the first playoff game of every season, you see like players a little jittery and it always kind of starts out a little crazy and then they settle in. But I do think that experience will play a key in it. And I think this is Jordan Love's fourth.
Yeah, fourth.
Fourth. And this is Caleb Williams' first.
This is first, yeah.
First. So I think that's another thing to look at. You never know. I mean, they've been playing all season long and, against all these tough teams, but I do think that experience could play a little key in it for sure.
Especially because Jordan Love has been there, done that. He's not just lost playoff games, but he's been in a win. He's been in a win, and almost win, and a loss, right? A loss that a lot of it was credited to him because he had 3 picks. An almost win in which he threw that pick at the end, but I mean, there's a lot. If Darnell Savage comes up with the interception, if there are a lot of plays, Carrington Valentine, if those plays are made differently than the Packers were in the NFC Championship game a few years ago, and then that first game in which we didn't know what to expect, and maybe that gives Caleb Williams the benefit of the doubt by not playing in a playoff game.
Yeah.
Because remember, Jordan Love hadn't played in a playoff game, and then he went berserk against the Cowboys. Now, he had experienced what a playoff game was behind Aaron Rodgers. So, again, it can go back to experience in that regard. But I agree with you. Playoff experience matters to some extent. I'm not sure how much it will matter in a game as intense as a Bears-Packers rivalry. But we do understand, like we've said before, that this defense has to show up for Green Bay. And one of the guys on that defensive line, as we had teased previously, played for the Bears just weeks ago, was on Chicago. He was on the positive side of that Chicago-Green Bay matchup back on December 20th. And now he's hoping to propel Green Bay to the positive side in the wild card round. This is Jonathan Ford, who was drafted by Green Bay a couple of years ago, and now he gets an opportunity to beat his former team, which is really weird to say.
Us against that.
About that run scheme that is tough to stop. You obviously want to, like you said, you went up against it in practice every single day. What makes them difficult?
Oh, they try to get the ball on the perimeter. Those guys, they pride themselves on getting the ball on the perimeter, and they want to run downhill at you as well to just see what you have up front. So we just, as a defensive line, we have to be stout up front and be able to just stop those backs in the back because they have some good backs.
What's this week like for you in that regard? You just feeding as much intel as you can to your team here, or you're emotionally just charged up for it? What do you feel now?
I've just been focused all week. I didn't really let the emotions kind of get to me. I didn't let it get me all riled up because I know this is like a big game and everybody here is counting on me to be able to just go out and do my job. So I kind of just been doing my job all week.
You mentioned you bring like the effort, but what about the knowledge of what goes on down in Chicago? Has coaches relied on you and some of the players relied on you about what to expect, the tendencies of the Bears?
The tendencies is the tendencies. It's all on tape. We all watched it, obviously, they want to know, but we see it on tape every day. We watch it every day. They played against them twice this year. going on a third time. So the tendencies are the tendencies. We already have that, down pat, and we just want to play and just get the win this weekend.
You feel like you did enough on Saturday to get another shot on Sunday?
Sunday
and Saturday.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, obviously, I feel like I did do a good job. Obviously, there's more room for improvement, but I came out of that game real confident knowing that I gave everything I had.
Yeah, what did it mean to you?
It meant a lot. Obviously, coming back to a team that drafted me and brought me here. So being able to come back in this organization, believing in me, going out there to do my job, it made me comfortable for one. And then talking to Coach Halfley, he let me know, like, hey, just go out and have fun. And that's what I did. I had a lot of fun.
I know you obviously weren't here for the Ravens game, but could you feel like a sense of kind of anger amongst the defense about how they performed run-wise against Baltimore going into when you got here?
Yeah. Losing the game is always hard. I don't care if we won the game and, we didn't stop the run. Obviously, that's something we take pride at as a defensive lineman. So just losing in general, I felt, locker room, everybody was just riled up, ready to go get another win. So now that we have the opportunity to do that, that's what we want to do in the playoffs. It means more now.
What will be the emotions if you're out there on Saturday? I mean, this is your former team, and they gave you a chance. They also got rid of you.
No emotions. Just want to be focused and dialed in, and don't let my emotions take me off task of what I have to do out there on the field. So I won't have any emotion. I'll be focused, and I'll be ready to just go out and give everything I have.
Does the locker room exude confidence this week, or is it a different emotion from these guys?
It's all about confidence because we know we can go in and handle business. We know what this team is capable of. So obviously, we want to go out and just get the win. I don't think we're making it bigger than what it is. We know what's at stake. We know if we lose, we go home. We win, we advance. So obviously, we want to go get the win.
What's the confidence level in the U tonight?
Oh, Miami all the way. We got to get that W, I promise you. I'm going home, and I can't wait to watch this game tonight. The Hurricanes by 100.
Love it.
It's kind of weird talking college football
Right.
in the month of January. Even talking any NFL at this point in the year, because okay, down to 14 teams. You're not worrying about all 32 now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so obviously Jonathan Ford went to Miami, and Miami plays in the college football playoff semifinal. And it's just odd.
They all come from somewhere.
Oh yeah, I know, but it's weird. We're talking college football in January. That's a different conversation to have. A lot of coaches are like, why in the world? Because then there was that month break. And beside the point. Okay, back to Packers Bears. We're gonna take one more break, and on the other side, we'll talk to Kingsley Enagbare, who is a pivotal part of that pass rush ever since obviously Micah Parsons went down. It's been him, Lucas Van Ness, and Rashawn Gary leading the charge, and we actually haven't talked to JJ in a really long time, so it was good hearing from him and his insight. I warn everyone, it was very PR-ish, but that's just who Enagbare is. So we'll talk with JJ on the other side. Time to wrap things up as we rein in the end of the trilogy of Packers Bears in just a couple of days with Breanna Reinhardt. I'm Cameron Ezair. We are all very, very excited, and I think Vegas and the betting lines are, because it keeps bouncing in between, 1.5 for the Packers, 1.5 for the Bears. I think everyone understands how close of a game this one will be. We chatted with Kingsley Enagbare, part of that pass rush for the Packers, who sat out against the Vikings and is hoping that he can get his get back along with a majority of his teammates, because Caleb Williams was able to do whatever he wanted the last couple times they played the Bears. So here's JJ on his excitement for the matchup, and of course, the defense performing at a high level.
Us against them.
Tiebreaker. Best out of 3 type of thing. So I think, yes, pretty much.
What swings it in the Packers' favor Saturday night?
Be us and do what we do from Monday to Sunday, or be who we are or who we know we are. I think the sky's the limit, and we're going to show it Saturday. So.
From a defensive standpoint, how do you assess their offense, particularly Caleb Williams, at this stage of this season in his career?
A lot of stuff is he's pretty much one of their focal points, them and they run game, and then they got some guys on the outside, but a lot of it run through Caleb or schemed around Caleb or whatever. So we stop him, limit him. We like our favor.
A lot of times the 7 seed would not feel like just be us is enough, but you guys haven't trailed them in regulation in 2 games. You really feel
facing, I like the guys in our room, whoever dressing that green and gold, I like us, no matter who we facing. So,
how are you guys addressing stopping the run this weekend?
Just if everyone just line up in the right gap, just do our assignment. Everything else is gonna take care of itself.
Were you guys could you sense a frustration from the defense after that Ravens game that's kind of like eager to get back out there? Because obviously the majority of you guys didn't play last week.
Yeah, not for sure. I mean, anytime you let 300 go against you, it's not a good feeling. So like you said, I ain't playing, a week? So I kind of had to live with that for a couple of days. So I'm definitely excited for this Saturday to release some frustration a little bit. So
what is it about that run scheme, that run attack, that makes it difficult to stop? You guys have done like in Detroit, or sorry, in Chicago. Like obviously you've held them in check for the most part, pretty much. But like Ben Johnson schemes up a pretty good run game. What do they do well in the run game?
I don't really care about like what other teams do well. Like I said, like I like us. We do our job and line up where we're supposed to be. I like us.
So I think that what you got out of that is they just have to do them. And again, and JJ's been like that most of the season, but with how he's performed and how he's impacted this group, he is going to be a focal point, no doubt about that. Same with Rashawn Gary. I asked JJ about Rashawn because it's been 2.5 months since Rashawn had a sack or a tackle for loss. Wow. And it's been just so long, but he continued to complement the work ethic of Rashawn Gary. And again, it all starts with getting to Caleb and stopping the run. If they can do that, then whatever happens in the secondary, whether it opens things up for interceptions or takeaways, in which the Bears are so good at, but the Packers haven't been good at, then the Packers have a chance to win the game, which gets us to this point. Packers, Bears, Breanna, make your prediction. We have about a minute and a half left, and this is our last WFRV Plus Sports Night until the game.
Crazy. I think my prediction, I'm going to favor the Packers, and I'm going to say it's going to be Packers 27, Bears 24. I think it's going to be very tight, but I think Jordan Love's going to come out ready to roll. I think he's been sitting too long watching too many of his backups get in there. So I think he's going to be ready to go. And I think that this Packers defense is going to really feel the need to prove themselves this game. So I think they'll step it up.
And allowing 24 points for this Packers defense would mean a lot because the last time we saw them at their fullest extent, they allowed over 40 for the first time this season. Of course, allowed exactly 40 in the Cowboys game, but over 40 to the Ravens. And then even though they had guys sit, only allowed 16 to the Vikings. I agree with you. I think this is a Packers game to lose, more so to win, as we saw 2.5 weeks ago, because in my opinion, not just playoff experience, but the matchups work so well for the Packers if they can exploit it the way that they want it.
Sure.
If they get after the quarterback, if they force Caleb Williams to run and not be comfortable, then that opens things up so much for the offense to control time of possession. Because I think that's what the Packers did so well 2 weeks ago and did so well in the first half of the first matchup with the Bears, is they controlled time of possession. Now Josh Jacobs is more healthy. He told us that his body feels the best that it's been in 6 weeks. And if you can just run, if you can force Caleb Williams out of the pocket, force him to throw the ball more, get the ball out of his hands. Next thing you know, this Packers offense can take control of the game. I like your 27-24 because the lucky number 27 that had the Packers who were like 5-0 when they scored 27 points. I'm going to go Packers 30. I think they get to the 30 mark. And honestly, Bears 17. Again, I really do think if the Packers can exploit the game as they want it, which is taking the air out of the ball on offense and then on defense, as much as Caleb's mobility is a blessing for him, it can be a curse because he has never done it in the playoffs. So I'm going 30-17. So we both got the Packers, which means they'd be going on to Seattle playing in the divisional round. We will see what happens. That game 7 o'clock on Saturday for Breanna. I'm Cam. Enjoy the game, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week, not to wrap up the season, but to continue it. Have a good one.